Moment of truth. Ah, it's exactly what I thought. It's literally taking us back to November. On my YouTube video, this is basically this is a save game backup. Let's just make sure I can save the game. I did this exactly the same thing on Horbelleron. It really is to do with the update. But I know this works because I've done it on Horbelleron as well. I literally rolled it back to a backup save game, and then it obviously must do something, an update, whatever the new 1.2 game does that it doesn't like about the original saves. If you go to the backup save, for some reason it accepts it and then will save. What happened on this was exactly what happened on the other, and I wish I'd have tested the save sooner. I didn't think, I thought it was a one-off, but as soon as I saw the I've added it to my last video, you'll see what I mean. Literally it just says saving, and it will say saving forever. It doesn't, it's like can't lock the file or something. But whereas once you've done this and gone to a backup save game, it actually works. It actually destroys your save. So this is the backup save now put into save slot 4, which is where it is on my PC for this particular game. So we literally were up to March next year, and we were not far off the same amount of money. We'd gone up and down, bought a few pieces of equipment, but now we're left with a bit of a quandary, because obviously I'm not prepared to do all the work. I'll show you what I did do in this session. Literally, because we are right back to November, I have already. I suppose there is one advantage to this. Right. This is really going to be quite strange in a way, but it does give me an opportunity which I hadn't really thought of. Let's tell you what. We're going to do something a bit strange. Now that cost us 17.5 grand. We're going to return that because, and I'll tell you for why. I'm going to give myself a tiny bit of leeway on this, for the fact. Let's return that. We'll keep that. It's no point in sending it. Imagine, how does sugarcane? Yeah, we'll keep it for. What we're going to do then is we're going to give ourselves that money back because this is a test. I made a claim that 17,500. It was near as damn it, 17,500. Right, so that was what we had before we leased that thing. Now what I'm going to do instead this time is I'm going to lease. I'm not doing it now because I have a massive session. We are going to lease the sugarcane small standard harvester rather than the massive one, because I made a claim. Let's do a space. You want to lease it for 2,295? Yes. Let's put time. Yeah, time is down to 1, so it's not gonna be chatting for an hour. Right, I said that basically that field should produce more than it actually did, and I was using the big one. I think I got out of it 33, 66, 67, 77, about 87 tons, and I said that I thought the big one was damaging the crop and I should have got 100 tons. So what I said I would do is I would redo that field next year, and I would use a small one to make a comparison to see if I'm correct. Now I might be talking a load of gobbledygooch, but this actually for once does give me a unique opportunity to put my money where my mouth is, because actually we are at exactly the same spot that we were before, which is ready to do a harvest. And I'm not going to do it now, but next play session I shall do exactly that. We shall literally. There is some sad news though. Over the winter, let's just see, I can't remember what was on offer this yeah, it was that. Over the winter we actually bought a new tractor, so yeah, I'm gutted. I had a cracking tractor. We bought a couple of pieces of equipment that now I've actually obviously lost in the ether because it never happened because the save game's destroyed. Nevertheless, the only silver lining to this is that I can actually run the test now. Now I'm going to let a worker do this for one reason and one reason only, and that is that if I use this manually, the wheels damage the crop. But if I let a worker do it, that we all know that the workers don't damage the crops. So if I do that and let that, and we do the whole harvest, we shall see if this comes to more than 87 tons, as I am saying it would. If it doesn't, then I am quite happy. I really did enjoy using the big one, the 2 metre instead of the 1 metre, but obviously that is a mega expensive piece of kit. But this is a true test, so that in a scientific test, so that in my mind I'm either proved right or wrong. Now I think I'm right, but as is, I want to put my money where my mouth is. So if the big one is doing damage as I'm claiming it is, then obviously we shall see different results, because it's exactly the same field with exactly the same level of weeds and everything. It is exactly the same field, so the test is a true test because it is exactly the same field with exactly the same level of fertilization, weeds, blah blah blah, and the crop is exactly the same with exactly the same damage that the other field had, because I did damage the field. Let me show you what I mean. Let me just run over to the tractor and I'll show you exactly what I mean. In fact, you can see it, the little bits of purple. No, let's go to it though. Switch the lights on. I did all sorts of stuff as well. Yeah, now next year, if I'd replanted this wouldn't be a true test, because look, I damaged the field. This is exactly the same field that I harvested, so whatever we do this year is exactly the same amount of crop as this year, because it is this year. Whereas if I'd have redone it next year, truthfully speaking, I wouldn't have had that exact amount of damage, which is exactly the same field as we harvested last year. So this is a perfect test because the amount is exactly the same. Just for me, it's very... This is the only way I can not be crying at this very moment in time, because obviously I've just spent 2 hours harvesting that sugarcane field and doing tests. I was also doing sugar tests, literally testing on how the best way to maximize profit using these sugar productions, which we did figure out. For now, obviously it's based upon, I shall show you what we ascertained by scientifically working out how much. If you go to sugar, now you would have thought it would have been, but it's the most logical thing. If you look at those, there's 4 places on the map that are buying sugar. So what we ascertained, we sold them. Obviously when you go to sleep it takes a snapshot and it obviously shows you the average costs, and it literally, that's exactly how it worked, because we did it once when it was at about 950 was the average of all 4, would have been 950, and the figure we got back from selling, we worked out how much sugar beet and sugar cane, which is 20 tons, but also it was storing 15 tons the first night, which meant that was 20 tons, because it converts the 20 tons per one into 10 tons, so that means it produces 20 tons with the 2 products, and there was 15 tons, that was 35 tons. We worked it out and it was exactly right based upon the average of 900 for what we sold and what money we had the next morning. So just to make sure I was correct, we sold it a little bit later on in the year. All of the prices were about 880 as an average, and we sold again about 20 tons. I think it was a standard, or it might have been again 35 tons. We did the maths properly at the time. Actually, I'm just looking at my paper now. 38, yeah, 24 tons actually the second time, and that worked exactly right as well. So both sums were precisely right, taking an average of all 4 buying. So the best thing you would do is when you go to sleep, you would have put your productions onto storing previously. When you go to sleep, you check your price for whatever your production is. If you've got two of those, say the fast food restaurant was at 500 and the grocery mart was at 500, it would take an average of all four and give you quite a low number, which means at that snapshot in time it would do the calculation for how many tons and how you would sell that, and it would be poor. However, if you did something like that where you look at all four and make sure that they're reasonable, that's not a bad place to be. So that would mean you'd get a decent average of roughly, I'd say actually 900 looking at all that. If you were to average all four of those, would be roughly 900. So that's not a bad price to get. On my whole Belleron, I did somewhere, some of them, the bakery was sometimes quite weak. So if I did an average of 500 and the other one was at 9, I would have an average of about 750 or 720 to 750, something like that, which means I'm going to be losing quite a lot per tonne than if I'd have waited for both to be at 1,000. Now then I would have got almost exactly the same as if I had packed them up myself and sold them and run them across. So we did do that, we did work it out, and it's obviously is going to be uploaded to YouTube to show the truthfulness of that fact. However, because I've lost my save, this does put me in a unique position to now actually harvest that again and to see if I was right or if I'm just spouting a load of nonsense. And if it is, I made a statement. I said I have done sugarcane for 3 years on Belleron, and I know that that should produce more. Well, we shall see. We shall see, because now we're in a unique opportunity. It may be that the field on Belleron is actually bigger than this one, and therefore I'm wrong. Although, to be honest, we did produce an awful lot. I don't think it is that much different. Maybe a little bit, but I still think we should have got 100 tons. So we shall see. By using the work on exactly the same field, we shall see without any loss. There will be a bit of me tidying up because the workers make an mind you to know on this field's different. On Belleron there were trees in the way. So if we do this in the right and we make sure that we move this out the way, we should hopefully, it's not got a bad turnaround on this. Yeah, I don't know, there's still a few fields. Well, anyway, we shall see. But I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. We've got 87 tons before. This time we shall see if I was talking a load of nonsense or whether actually we do get 100 tons. So that's what we're going to do next play session. So I'm going to leave it there because this is more an addendum just to explain why on YouTube you are going to see a video with me right up to March about at least a few items and all sorts of things which you'll see on the video. And now why we're back to November, and that's why, because the 1.2 update did something weird to both of my saves, and I'm quite sure it's not just me. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of very unhappy people who've wasted hours of their time, because it can't be a coincidence that both of my save games have both done this. There's obviously something quite drastically wrong, and I would imagine there's going to be more than me that's affected by this, especially being as it's happened on both. I thought it might have been just an unlucky coincidence on my first save, and when it happened the second time I thought, oh, this is actually a little bit more serious. So yes, I think there's going to be quite a few people that are not very happy like myself, but these things happen. It is bad, but we shall see what anybody else does. It might, if it's a freak accident and it's happened to me twice on the trot, then we shall see. But if other people are shouting and screaming about lost save games, then I'm sure there's a lot of people going to be venting at Giant. So anyway, that's enough of this. It does give us a unique opportunity to test this out tomorrow, but I am going to say for now, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now. Throughout this video I've stipulated that I said that the sugarcane amount was wrong. This is the actual proof that I was right. Doing it with the big harvester was less and the little harvester was quite a considerable amount more, so this is just the proof that I was right.